We interrupt this broadcast with a breaking and terrifying update. Listen carefully, because what you're about to hear could save your life, or at least stop you from making a deadly mistake. This is a warning for everyone, especially those who live with dogs and trust them without question. This isn't just a rumor, not a campfire tale. Authorities have confirmed more and more cases like this, and the pattern can't be ignored. It always starts the same way, a dog refusing to sleep where it always has, instead crawling under the bed, shaking, and staring into the dark. No one knows why. Some shrug it off. Others whisper that dogs see what we can't. What happens after is uncertain. But one thing is sure, if your dog starts hiding under your bed, you need to ask yourself why. The case of Sarah Whitfield is the most chilling example. Sarah was 32, a nurse working endless night shifts in a small town in Pennsylvania. Her life had blurred into harsh lights, pressure, and silence. The only thing holding her steady was her golden retriever, Milo. He was loyal, gentle, always waiting by the door. That fall, Sarah rented a small cabin outside town, looking for quiet away from sirens and crowded streets. She told friends she wanted to heal her mind and give Milo more space to roam. At first, it was perfect. Morning coffee on the porch, Milo chasing squirrels, evenings reading by the fire. But within a week, she noticed something strange. Milo, who always slept at the foot of her bed, refused to stay there. Every night he whined, scratched, and forced himself under the frame. She thought it was nerves, maybe the new place. But she couldn't shake the feeling. She'd kneel, look under, and see Milo's wide eyes locked on the far corner, at nothing. Sarah joked with friends on the phone. "He's just being weird. Dogs do that." She forced a laugh. But inside, she wondered why his paws shook every time the lights went out. Nights grew heavier. Sarah woke at 3:12 a.m. to Milo growling, his body stiff beneath the bed. The sound was deep, guttural, nothing like him. She whispered, "Milo, it's okay," but he wouldn't move. His eyes stayed fixed on that corner. Then came the sounds. At first faint, a dragging, like cloth sliding across wood. Then louder, creaks below the cabin, as if something heavy shifted right under her room. She called the landlord. He shrugged. "Old wood. Maybe rats." But rats don't knock 3 times on the underside of your bed. She tried sleeping with the lamp on. The scratching only grew. One night she swore she heard breathing. Not Milo's panting, but a slower inhale, exhale, right by her headboard. Paranoia took her over. At work, she stared through patients, barely listening. At home, she checked closets, locked windows, latched the door twice. Still, the air felt thick, like a storm about to break. Neighbors spoke of strange things too. A woman said her dog vanished after weeks of hiding under furniture. A man muttered about shadows stretching too far at night. Sarah laughed nervously, pretending not to believe them. One evening, she heard Milo whimpering and rushed to the bedroom. He wasn't under the bed. Her stomach dropped. She found him clawing at the floorboards, tearing at the gap between wall and wood as if something were inside. She pulled him back, whispering, "Stop, stop, you're scaring me." The next morning, she noticed thin cracks spreading where Milo had scratched. When she touched them, the wood was damp, almost pulsing. On the 12th night, Sarah finally looked. Not just under the bed, but through the cracks Milo had made. She pulled back a loose board and froze. There was nothing beneath the cabin floor. No soil, no foundation, only black emptiness, too deep to see. And inside it, movement. Pale shapes pressed against something unseen. Fingers, too long, brushing the wood. Her stomach turned. She slammed the board back, heart racing, Milo barking like mad. Suddenly, it made sense. The neighbors, the vanishings, the scratching. The dogs weren't hiding. They were warning. staying near the only place those things couldn't reach. But now the barrier was thin, and Sarah had broken it herself. That night, she locked every door, stacked furniture against windows, and gripped a kitchen knife. Milo pressed tight against her leg, refusing to leave. The first thud came at 2:58 a.m. The bed shook hard, with splintering. Milo barked so wildly it barely sounded like him. Then, the floor split open. Hands shot out of the dark, clawing upward. Not human. Fingers bending wrong, too many joints, nails cracked and black. They grabbed at the bed, the sheets searching. Sarah screamed, stabbing down, the blades slicing air but never slowing them. She grabbed Milo and bolted down the hall, but the cabin shook like it was alive. From every room came dragging sounds, closer, closer. She reached the front door. The key jammed. Something outside pressed it shut. She threw her shoulder into it until the wood cracked, then slipped into the freezing night. Branches whipped her face as she ran through the woods. Behind her, the cabin groaned, caving in with an inhuman howl. Milo stayed with her, fur bristling, eyes wide. But the forest wasn't safe. Shadows slid between trees, stretching, circling. She heard whispers, her name repeated in voices she almost knew. Her dead mother, old friends, all twisted, overlapping. She stumbled onto a gravel road, headlights flashing. Truck. She waved, screamed, "Help!" The driver slowed, eyes wide. Behind her, branches snapped loud. The driver yelled, "Get in! Now!" Sarah shoved Milo into the cab and climbed in after him. As the truck sped down the road, she looked back. The cabin was gone. Not broken, gone. Only a pit remained, swallowing the moonlight. Police searched later. They found only a circle of scorched earth where the cabin had been. No ruins, no frame. Just emptiness. Sarah was treated for shock, released a week later. Her one request, never to sleep in a room with a bed again. She kept Milo close, watching him, trusting his instincts more than her own. But the mystery grew. Reports spread of dogs refusing to sleep anywhere except under beds. In towns miles apart at the same time. Experts brushed it off as panic, a story gone viral. But survivors whispered something else. The dogs aren't hiding. They're guarding us. And if your dog ever sleeps under your bed, pray they never stop.